Hey y'all, Matt here, Bobcat Bonsai, and today, on this beautiful sunny day, which I'm inside the greenhouse, so it kind of lets the glare down a little bit, but the sun's like right up here in my face. That way it's not in your face. I figured you'd appreciate that a little bit. Well, I guess it really doesn't affect you because the TV can only be so bright, but today, we're going to go collect some Yardadori. All kinds of little trees that I found, and a lot of them that I've marked and I've been waiting for. A lot of eastern red cedars. There is a little oak tree that I want to grab up, and there's this one tree. I have no idea what it is, but it's growing right by the base of my house, and it just showed up over this last summer, so we'll dig that one up too. All right, let's get to it. All right, so here's the first two. These ones I just happened to find. Sorry, it's gonna be a little bit loud because I'm right by the main road by my house, but these two I was able to find this last year after I was mowing and everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, how have I missed these things for so long? And this one's got a nice aged trunk on it, and it's just been mowed down a lot. That's the only downside to it. So I'm just gonna get under here as deep as I can. And just begin to cut a big plug down low. And again, I'm sorry, it's going to be very loud over at this spot. Alright, so we have some goods. Wow, that one actually went really well for me right there. Alright. And then we'll take a closer look at everything when we get back then. So really, I'm just digging plugs around these guys so that I can pull these up. Now there's a nice vine growing through there. That's always wonderful when they do that. Okay, so some more vine in the way. Here we go. So my goal here is to just keep digging these plugs. That way I can get down to around where the tree is. And just get, like, I'm gonna end up cutting that whole tap off and just leaving the rest of that there. So we got that one. Now we just need to get this little guy right here. And that one we got a lot of taproot. See, look at how cool that is. Just been growing here for a while. So now we got it all out, let's start filling this back in so I don't fall into a hole with my mower. All right, on to the next one. All right, so I just see this nice long stick here is marking these two little guys over on this side. And that one, in one quick pop, we were able to get this one out. Now we're just going to break up the ground around it. Just do our best to leave on whatever we can. Yes, that one looks really good as far as the feeder roots go. So these are all just little eastern red cedars, and I did not get in a good spot on that one. There we go. Sorry, Microphone's probably not a good idea when I'm doing stuff that's going to make me breathe heavy, because then you have to listen to me breathe, and you're probably like, I really don't want to listen to you breathe, so stop using a microphone. Okay, so again, another really cool little guy right there. He's even got a little bit of dead wood. Fancy, fancy, fancy. I should have brought some. Well, I don't know why I'm marking that. There's nothing left to mark there. Okay, on to the next one. So here we go with yet another little Eastern Red Cedar here. Oh, wow. So I was met with a rock. I like to really get try to get really deep in there, that way I can just pop, and in one pop get a good little pull. See how the whole taproot came out, everything. This looks really good, really, really good. So I'm actually super happy with how this one came up. Sorry, Paisley's being a little bit boisterous today as well. This may be a little bit of a longer video, but I think it's cool just to get to go through and see all this. Look at this. These are all over my field out here. Not even a huge difference in area. This is just my little field, and that's just what we've got so far. But I don't know how old any of them are either, because I accidentally mow over top of them, and then they end up looking funny. But maybe I've just been aging them. I don't know. On to the next one. So we got this little guy right here, but first, look at the buds on my basswood tree. Gorgeous. No, the basswood is not meant to be a bonsai tree. It's just there to be a tree to grow into my field, and I like to whittle and work with wood. And if any of you are woodworkers, you know that the basswood is a very soft wood, which is great for whittling. Oh, I love working with crabgrass. It just makes everything that much more fun. All right, let's get this one opened up here. Yeah, I mean, look at that. The crabgrass alone just has a nasty root spike that goes down into the ground, and this one's intertwined pretty good with it. So I want to get rid of as much of that as possible, because that will try to take the tree out. Well, not try to take the tree out, but it'll suck up all the nutrients around it. But maybe it helped this little guy put out some nice feeders, because it looks pretty good here. Also, let's take a moment to look. So we see how we're starting to get this green in, and it's starting to fade the purple back to green. I want these all dug up and repotted before they come completely out of dormancy, which is what happens once we lose all the purple. Couldn't even get my shovel cleaned off real quick in a cool manner on the camera. All right, on to the next one. Okay, so just a heads up, there's Paisley. Paisley's crazy, especially when I'm outside. She loves to just run around with me. But we've got this little brake caliper here, and what happened is I saw this little oak growing right behind our basketball pool, and I wanted to protect it. So I actually stacked up brake calipers. I went one, and then I had this one over top of it like this to protect it, because then from the side you can't really see it. But now I want to get it dug up, so we're going to dig up the tree so that we can get it repotted. All right, let me get you set up real quick. All right, so as we see here, we got a nice little weed right there. We have the acorn right here. We want to make sure we keep that with it, because until that falls off on its own, it still needs it, and that's important to keep with it, because that's where it's feeding all its nutrients from. But most likely I could probably dig right here, because they almost never have any feeder roots on these little oak trees. But I'm still going to dig out and away from it, and just try to see what I can get. All right, so I knocked the acorn off. Hopefully it didn't need the acorn still. Otherwise, I've already lost this one. Okay, and then on here, it looks like most of the feeders are way down at the bottom. But look at it, this thing was growing out of the ground like this. But the taproot went off to the side. So now if we plant it like this, it's almost running cascade, but not really. All right, on to the next one. All right, so here is the unknown tree. I don't know if you can get a good look at that bark there. It kind of looks like a wild pear. That's what I'm thinking it might be. If you look real closely past Paisley's tongue, there's all the buds are getting ready to start popping on this one as well. So we're gonna get this one dug up, and we're gonna end up having to trim it at some point. I don't know when we're gonna do that, but we're gonna have to eventually. All right, so let me get you set up and we'll get to it. All right, so that is a fairly large trunk that it's got here. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you all like the ivy, and I like the ivy, but I don't like the ivy when the ivy's starting to climb up the side of my house, because then it starts to do damage. So first I gotta get rid of some of this ivy. And don't worry, there's plenty of it. So looking at it, it looks like this thing's running a pretty shallow root base the way that it's shaking here. So I'm just gonna work it from this outside edge here. And then just slowly feed this out and just see what we get as we're going in here. All right. We get ivy, that's what we get. Okay, so that could be promising. It was already growing on top of a rock, it looks like. So did that have any effect in how it grew? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out which roots belong to this and what roots belong to all this ivy. Like, I've got all this ivy just rooted in the middle of it, and it's kind of making this a little bit more difficult over here. What are you? Oh, no, you belong here. You belong there. Okay. So, I thought this thing was only growing for a year, but there's no way. It's had to have been much longer than that. Much, much longer than that. Oh no, you fell. Here we go. Let's try it from this side right there. Okay. Now I'm starting to get underneath it a little bit. Paisley. Sorry, Paisley's insisting on coming over for greetings. All right. I know you shouldn't pull and break the roots, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm keeping out of these roots yet. Well, that's probably even more reason not to pull, because I don't know what I'm keeping. But Unfortunately, I always end up learning things the hard way. So there's always that. Looks like we have one more route to trace down here. And if we can get to the base of this one, then we should be all right. And I'm thinking with Paisley, stop. This little girl is wild. I'm thinking with how many trees I've dug up, this may end up becoming a two-part video. Part one, my collecting. Part two, potting everything up. Okay. So there's no way I'm going much deeper than that. So I'm gonna end up chopping the root, but I've got to get Paisley to stop licking me. I thought I had it, but I did not. Let's see. How about now? Where are we at? Okay, there we go. That is a lot of root. We got a lot to think about here. Because honestly, that taproot line could be really cool. But if we bring it all the way up to this top set right up here, that could be pretty awesome also. So that one's not even going to fit in my bucket, but I'll throw it in there anyway. That's a cool little rock. Alright, so I believe that was all for the collection. I guess we'll walk around just a little bit and see, just to make sure. But if it is, I'll see you in the greenhouse. If it's not, I'll see you at the next tree. I'll see you there.